There's a joint on the corner where the big boys play, where the whiskey's running like the river, but they all never come for the booze and bass. I'm the one, I'm the lady that'll rock this place. That'll rock this place.
What is up, creatives? This is Tom. Welcome back to another video. I hope that you did enjoy that sort of intro sequence, that Apple commercial that I shot this morning. I was actually really pleased with how it came out, especially given that there wasn't like an enormous amount of prep gone into it. Like, I literally shot it, as you'll see in a bit, using my computer screen as a background and just using my existing iPhone. So super buzzed about how that came out. Obviously, there are definitely improvements that could be made to that project, and we're going to discuss those and talk about those in this video, as well as breaking down the gear and breaking down some of those shots that you saw sort of in the duration of the video. You might be wondering why I've got my headphones and my laptop out. Now, that is because actually I have some super exciting news. I've partnered with Artlist. I'm super excited because I've been a massive fan for years of Artlist as a platform. They have unbelievably high quality music. Like, it's probably second to none in terms of music selection for sort of online creators, like with flexible licenses. And licenses are key because the reason that Artlist is, in my opinion, kind of better than a lot of the other competitor softwares is that for a freelancer, I make sort of videos full time for my job. I can actually use my existing license. The license is $199 per year. So monthly, that works out as really, really cheap. And that allows my clients to use those songs in perpetuity. So they don't have to sort a license out themselves. I can choose a track for them, put it in a video, and then, you know, they have full rights to use that video with that track however they would like to use it. And music licensing can get super complicated. So that is an enormous advantage. Not to mention you get an unbelievable cool selection of music, and that's great for these YouTube videos. So that track that I used on the Apple advert, I basically just found that on Artlist. And again, that's a really good example of the type of high quality music that you can find on the platform. So as a first step, like, I always start with music when I'm starting off a project like this because it's really important to find the vibe and the feel. So I'm going to briefly show you the Artlist platform and basically just show you sort of how I tracked down that track and eventually decided to go with it and what that song was called. If you've used an online music licensing service, this is a really good one. It will be similar to the other platforms that you've used, I'm sure, but they do have a few really cool features. So first of all is that they have a competition to win $35,000 worth of filmmaking equipment. That's a pretty good deal. But how I actually found the track for this video is I went into mood and then into exciting, and then basically just found the track from there. You can even add an additional sort of like filter on. So these will be powerful tracks filtered with exciting tracks, obviously. Let's listen to a couple of these. All right, definitely a bit too much sort of vibe and tempo for the type of thing that we're looking at, but maybe let's check out this one instead.
I came from the mud, there's dirt on my hands, strong like a tree, there's roots where I stand. Oh, I've been running from the law.
Very, very cool track, but obviously not quite right for this type of project, but super cool. Like, this would be a really good like intro song if you had some really cool sort of motion graphics, that type of thing. But the track that I actually went to, so we can just go into download history here on the Artlist platform, and it was this one here, Rock This Joint. So I will just tap play on this. I obviously used a certain section of the song, but the song is really awesome in its entirety.
Hit it! That's what I'm talking about. Wait!
Okay, now, from the beginning.
Hit it, boys.
So there we go, like super, super cool track. I'm really glad that I found that one. I think it fit the sort of fast-paced tempo vibe just amazingly. So I think it was a fantastic fit. If you are interested in checking out Artlist, giving it a try, that type of thing, there'll be a link in the top part of the description if you are interested. But I think next, let's chat about the gear that I used for this shoot. So no surprises on gear if you've been following the channel for a little while. This is my Blackmagic Pocket Cinema camera. However, I did choose a different lens than what I would normally go with for a shoot like this. So I literally have the Canon 50mm f1.8, and I was super pleased with the fact that the minimum focal distancing on this lens is actually really good. Like, I could get pretty much like up close and personal with the iPhone, and I had no need for additional sort of like macro lens or like focal reducer to try and get the iPhone in focus from super close up. But I don't normally shoot this type of project with a camera like this. I would normally go with something like my EOS R that's shooting me right now, because it's just a little bit easier for projects like this. But you know, I just decided that I had the camera set up and everything, so I thought, let's go for it. Why not shoot something like this? I did think personally that I actually underexposed the footage just a little bit, because there was a little bit too much noise for my liking, and I've never shot with sort of like the bright screen of my computer like I did for this shoot before. So that's just a learning experience. Next time I will overexpose my footage a little bit, and then I can bring down the detail on the iPhone. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about the shots in the video. The couple of shots that are sort of like I guess the hero shots used amongst the sort of motion graphics in the video. So first of all is this sort of rotating iPhone shot against the white screen. So you'll see from this sort of just like overlay behind the scenes shot is I literally did just use my computer screen as the background. I have like a studio paper background behind me. The issue with using something like this is I think I would have struggled to get it as bright as like a white light emitting screen, and it also meant that it gave the iPhone a really good sort of halo effect. Apple's style is super white, super bright, so I think it was a good choice to use something like that. It's also super accessible, so if I said that, you know, you had to have a studio background like this, that's a bit of a faff, whereas everyone's got like a screen or something like that. Like, this is a massively overlooked filmmaking tool. You can pretty much throw up anything on a background like that, so it's super useful. And in terms of the rotation, what I did is just sort of pin the iPhone between two heavy objects, and then I have like a lazy Susan which I just sort of rotated round. I shot it in 120 frames a second in 1080p, and yeah, I think it came out looking good. There was a little bit of wobble in the middle. Ideally I would have used like a motorized glider, a motorized turntable, but didn't have one to hand. But yeah, so I think still sort of looked good. And then the next shot we have here is the sort of rotating phone, and the whole iPhone is in frame here. So this was done literally using a stick and just rotating the phone. Like, I taped the stick to the back of the phone. I think in retrospect, because what I ended up doing in order to get the three phones next to each other is I actually masked out the entire phone. I think in retrospect what I should have done is thrown up a green background or a blue background on the TV screen, and I should have keyed out the background, and I would have had a cleaner mask than I got in the end, because you can still see, like, if I had more time I'd probably be able to get this a little bit better, but you can see that the edges of the mask are a little bit wavery in some places, and you can see the stick just on a couple of frames. Again, just like one of those things that you would want to tighten up if this was like a client project, but for the sake of this video I think it was okay to upload. And then I just did some sort of motion graphics-y style duplication of layers and then zooming each phone out from underneath. These type of techniques are super useful. I thoroughly recommend you learn basic After Effects so that you can do this type of move. Okay, so motion graphics. Now, I don't want to turn this video into like talking about how I did the motion graphics and that type of thing. The nice thing about this type of project is that if you learn basic After Effects, again, like I was saying, is that there's really nothing complicated about the style and the type of motion graphics that I used in this video. Like, pretty much it's just text, like nice pace and keeping up sort of a fun, fast-paced vibe. There's a few sort of scales and transitions and that type of thing thrown into the mix, but on the whole, the look and the feel is very achievable if you know basic After Effects, and I would thoroughly recommend that anyone watching this video goes and learns some basic AE, because it will come up super useful in pretty much any project that you decide to use it for. So there we go, guys. That's just some thoughts and experiences from a little shoot like this. Like, this probably took me under 2 hours start to finish to produce something that was watchable, you know, a really good piece of like replica content. Obviously, it's not even close to a final Apple advert. Like, they have, you know, amazing teams, and all of the sort of iPhone footage in their adverts is entirely computer generated for obvious reasons. Like, it's so much easier to sort of do things on a like our computer and get the moves to be super smooth. They're either robotic or computer generated renders, but I think I did do a decent job of getting relatively close to that sort of look, the sort of Apple clean look. And I do think a lot has to do with the sort of computer background setup that I was using it for. And the other thing is just the music. Like, music is so essential in a project like this. You only have to look at Apple's own music. They always sort of go like partner with musicians and bands to either produce music or license like unbelievably good music for their adverts, because they know the importance of this. The nice thing is about like these platforms like Artlist now is, like, previously we didn't have access, or filmmakers online didn't really have access to this type of music and using it legally, whereas now, like, $199 a year and a little bit more if you want like sound effects, that type of thing, you can have really high quality music by artists all around the world for your projects. It really is a fantastic tool. I do thoroughly believe that it will improve your filmmaking. Access to a good music subscription library will improve your filmmaking ability. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed this and found it useful. If you have any questions about the project down below, please let me know, and I'll catch you guys next time.